streaming.
Sorry.
It should be live. It should be because I know this thing works pretty fast, but we'll just I'll
All
let it.
right.
I'll let it. I will let it sit for a
Oh,
minute or
cool.
so.
I've got the link.
So yeah, if
I'm
you
just
want.
waiting for the actual thing to pop up.
So yeah, if you want to put it on the old internets, be like, hey, we're here, we're live, but not in our usual broadcast. What we're going to have today, but we're just going to talk about current events, which is still fun, I guess, fun and exciting, but you know,
Hey, there we go.
it's on, it's on.
Ex-
I heard it. Yay! We'll let everybody file in who's here.
Yep, I'm gonna make a post as well real quick.
Yeah. So hello and good afternoon, good morning, evening, wherever you're at. We're pivoting a little bit because we were gonna have Dr. Scott McIntosh on today, but he has some things he has to attend to, so we'll had to reschedule. So today we're going to just talk about some current. And poor Janelle, she's got the tornado warning at her house.
Ew,
Yeah,
that's no good.
yeah, we're on the warm side of this weather system. It came through here a couple hours ago. Not much in the Chicago area, but I know like parts of Michigan and Indiana and Ohio are supposed to get some of this. And then another round on Wednesday. So it's spring severe season in full force.
Yep, March has fully started.
Yeah, and then on the cold side of it, so like anybody in northern Michigan, especially, just got hammered with ice, and large areas of power, no power. So that's fun and exciting, but spring.
Woo!
So anyway, welcome in anybody who's watching. So we're gonna cover up some of the current events that have happened, including that X-flare that, like as Justin has said, it was pretty spectacular, and it was. One of the good things about seeing things on the limbs is we get a really good view of it, and they look very, very cool in the imagery, which is also why it tends to stir up the media a little bit or spin them up, because these images do look really impressive, even though they're kind of far outside of the Earth strike zone, but they're cool to look at nonetheless. So we're going to talk about it. We'll talk about the state of that particular region, a couple more interesting ones that are popping up as well, and what this could mean as we go through the week here with severe weather and threats of X-flares, and because we all know that can hamper radio signal or radio propagation. So it should be interesting. So anyway, I think I gave everybody sharing powers. So do we want to start with the X-flare, right? The eye
Yeah,
candy. I think I start with the eye candy.
because eye candy is always good. So
Yes.
yes, we had, as everyone, and then some knows, we had an X-flare. Hit X1 officially on the limb, east region in the north. Gorgeous looking eruption. Could see the entire thing, like cutting an apple in half and being able to see everything an apple is made of. We were able to see pretty much the entire composition of this eruption and CME from it.
Yeah, it took the filament with
Unfortunately,
it.
yeah, unfortunately, not Earth directed, but we can at least appreciate what it gave us in terms of eruptions. So I was looking at some things earlier, but let's look in not differentiated imagery. And basically exploding off of the west limb. This is 211, which we would look for dimming, which, man, you can even see in the individual frames
Yeah, it's
some of the plasma bits here. Like, I mean, these are wallpaper worthy.
they
I
kind of
might have to
are.
make a super high resolution video of this in different wavelengths and just have it for fun. Anyway, point being, the CME was equally as nice in Glasgow. Oh, well, let's go over the actual frame.
Yeah, look at,
Boom!
and you can
And what I
see
want
that
to
shock.
emphasize, so you can see the shock over the actual CME. You have both fronts visible individually. And then you've got the nice looking core of the CME here. But what you don't see is a really great Earth-directed component, unfortunately.
Right.
To say that this is going to affect us in any significant way is already immediately hyping things up which is now our buzz anti-word. So don't worry about it. Like, but will we see some maybe increased speed later on? What, 3 days or so? Yeah, probably. But there's a kernel hole scheduled to help do that already. So we'll leave the blame to the kernel hole rather than the CME. But look how pretty that is.
It's impressive.
As far as actual regions on the sun now, the west limb here, I've got a magnetogram kind of put on top of the physical looks. So what we'll do is lower the opacity quite a bit. It's a little hard to tell from the limb, but as of right now, that is pretty much just a unipolar region with some mixing. Turning that back off. There's probably some umbra that were there, but it's mostly decayed now, or it's still in growth. It's hard to tell. But this is a whole plage region with just a giant, what looks to be positive spot. Some growth going on in center and northern hemisphere, though, with some interesting complexity. I don't know the numbers for any of these right now, so I apologize to everybody for not naming active regions, but
I think it's
the
on the
north center one.
synoptic map when we get to it.
Oh, okay, good, good. So we'll get to see that then.
Yeah.
There's some growth here too, but that's simple beta right now and doesn't look too complex. So honestly, we're kind of the same story we've been the last 4 months. Really not a lot of complexity or interesting looking sunspots, just a few active ones here and there for a few days and then they disappear. Actually, we got a pretty high latitude grouping here. That's not something you normally get to see for this late in the cycle. It's still expected, but not very common. Anyway, that is my take on the X-flare and the CME. I think there might have been more on the... Oh, yeah, the measured speed hit 1838 kilometers per second for Moon to Mars, but...
You can probably share the screen with the actual slide.
Yeah, put the slide deck up.
It's funny because I was reading the slide.
Yeah.
Just directly from there.
So it was decently fast.
Yeah.
But
so another occasionally rated one.
Yeah, so that was
for occasional.
Yeah, that was the other thing with the social. Now we get into the social media response.
The social media response, yeah, which was way greater than the actual action itself.
Yeah, because I mean it's an impressive looking thing. It had a lot of impressive looking pictures, so I guess it's gonna, spur this kind of stuff. But I think the one thing that was interesting was the people talking about it being Carrington class, and that's something they had to be careful with wording because how we get a Carrington class event is really denoted in what happens with it here. Did it have a significant radiation storm with it? Did it have, geomagnetic component? Did it have this? And we will never know that from this because it won't hit us. So speed is just one indicating factor, but this wasn't even at 2,000 kilometers a second. So, but interestingly enough, that little faint halo that caused all the stir last week was like right around the same speed as what they were getting. And
yep.
So it's kind of...
And this one's just prettier looking.
Yeah, so it's just kind of interesting to watch all these things unfold. But yeah, it's very pretty. It's cool looking. It looks apocalyptic, so people will latch onto that and say all these things. But
yeah, so this is the modeling that's been done by NASA M2M Moon to Mars office, and they took that higher end of speed with 1838 kilometers. So they modeled it as a pretty fast one, and it has a little bit of glancing below. There is overlap with that small coronal hole. SIR, I'm not sure if it's a recurrent feature. That may be just sort of leftover coronal hole, so it could be a recurrent one. We'll go with SIR for sure. So they're estimating arrival at sometime on the 31st. So don't go with like it's going to be at 10 UTC. The margin of error for the model is about 7 hours, and we know that they usually arrive like 10 to 12 hours on either side. SWIPC is also stating that there is a possible shock arrival for this CME, probably combined with with SIR, so that dense region that arrives before coronal hole fast speed. So not much is expected because even SWIPC modeling doesn't show that much of an impact. Maybe, possibly, so we have to watch.
I wouldn't bet on it.
No. This is by far not a direct hit. This is a possible glancing blow, and it's a very, very stretched possibility. They had to model it for risk purposes, and that's pretty much it. So this is kind of the situational awareness, and Christian already went through active regions at this point, but what currently
40,
features in the
40,
forecast,
43.
Yep,
That was the region
is
I was thinking of.
Yep. So
Yep,
they do have a name.
that's the newly developing region, but what features in the geomagnetic forecast right now is that coronal hole, which is positive polarity. It's pretty narrow, so it's not gonna be prolonged fast speed stream that we have seen with that giant coronal hole. And I think that may be kind of extension of it that existed previously. It's still sort of visible there. Several CMEs in the forecast, all of them are very low probability of arrival. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's not going to appear until much later. So there is a
Yeah.
smaller coronal hole that's near center disk right now.
And we have this here.
That little
Yep,
one.
that's the one. That little one thing. So if you can go back to the slide deck.
Like that little guy.
Yeah, pretty much every agency is saying that this is a very low confidence of arrival for the CMEs. They're not direct hits, they're glancing blows, they're difficult to model, and they're off very low certainty. So do not count on anything happening. It's pretty much wait and see what happens. And again, can we say that this was a Carrington event? No. And what gets worse is sometimes people see those events and they assume that the region will rotate and will do the same thing. So all regions should be assumed as non-flaring until they actually flare. And all regions should be assumed back to non-flaring state once they do flare. So we don't know what they will behave like. There is a chance that a flare generating region will do it again, but by far not a guarantee. So we don't know if the same region that just fired that beautiful CME on the limb will do it again once it gets to the center disk. We have to wait.
It won't. That's karma.
Yeah.
He's always the bad news guy.
I am the pessimistic one on these, and
Well-
only to avoid disappointment. So when nothing happens, I go,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I
it
knew
seems
that, I
like
guess.
like I'd be watching the one that's newly developing and the other one that's in the south, because those, even on the synoptic map, that has it rated with a X-flare probability higher than the one that gave us the one right now. So those
Well,
ones are,
it's newly emerging, so
Yeah.
there is fair amount of sort of instability
Yes.
in regions when they do emerge and develop rapidly, but that
Yeah.
again remains to be seen. So
We'll
it could
see.
be a very stable region once it fully emerges. We just don't know. Meanwhile, we have another thing to share with you, and this is happening probably next week as of now. There is sort of a little bit of conflicting information about the launch time, but again, we don't want it flying into solar energetic particles or radiation storm. So I'm sure they're at least watching that information. We have a little bit of kind of increase in radiation in was it geosynchronous orbit right now? So it's in GOES. So there are a lot more electrons out there and protons. So we'll see.
yeah.
But Mary Beth, do you
Yeah.
want to take this one over?
Yeah, but for those that are, into, I know some of the Michigan group's going to have like a watch party for this. But I think who's going to be in the best position for something like this is our friends in high latitudes. Because they're looking for aurora pictures, so that way they can get the on the ground to match what they're seeing up in space, and seeing these different components at different altitudes. And so it's kind of a cool project to be a part of if you're in the position to do that. And the details are here. You can scan the QR code. But the big thing here is to make sure that your camera time and location is correct. Because that's going to be critical for the science data behind it. So they can time it to what they're seeing up there. And then you can, and then of course, like I said, during the flyovers, which you can track too, when the thing is over you. So that's it. It's just a cool little a citizen science type deal to be a part of, and maybe we'll see some better understanding of what these different things do. And as you can see, they're really focusing on those things on the right side. Steve, streaks, continuum emissions, fragments. They're trying to get a better kind of understanding what kind of causes these things, or if we can get and what altitude they actually exist at. bunch of different things that are kind of questions right now. So we'll see how this goes. I know it can be tricky with launches, especially when you got all this not only space weather but ground terrestrial weather that's causing havoc lately with all the spring stuff. So we'll see if they actually can get it off the ground on April 1st. But yeah, so it's Fram 2 is the project, with Solar Max. Yeah, it should be interesting. But middle latitudes would be cool. If we get that opportunity, I don't, as of right now, there's not too much in the forecast. So we'll see if we actually do get that opportunity or not. And
I mean, this is very tricky mission from the crew perspective too, because you don't want strong aurora or major events happening on the sun as you have people in polar orbits. They're more exposed to solar radiation at that time. And if you have a very strong event, well, that becomes a problem. And also, they're kind of passing through aurora acceleration region where electrons are just rushing at fairly high speed into Earth's atmosphere. So you don't really want strong aurora, yet you want some aurora. So we'll see if it works out. But that's kind of the reason. I would agree with Mary Beth completely on it's probably better geared toward people who are living at very high to sort of aurora latitudes rather than for mid latitudes. But if it's happening, yeah, absolutely, they do want the pictures, and submissions should be done to Skywarden, which is sort of the counterpart to Aurora Saris, is a citizen. It's a database of citizen science photographs and auroral observations. So we'll post the links in the video description. So if you want to participate, absolutely, we would appreciate it. Do it for science.
Yeah, do it for the science. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of all we had today planned, anyways. Unless anybody's got some burning questions that they want to, other than Aaron saying that we need to use this platform to share the alien portal prior to invasion theory, and I'm like, what is that?
Still have nothing I can say to that.
He said he PM'd it to me, so now I have some reading to do when I get off of here. It sounds interesting.
Oh boy.
Maybe it will be the topic for next week. Maybe.
I hope we have some actual events to talk about.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
That
quiet.
would be cool too.
Yeah, because now it's like the terrestrial weather has taken center stage, and the soul space weather is now in the background. So we'll see.
I'd rather talk about actual events than what happens in social media. So
yeah. I know
it's a lot more fun.
It is. So we'll do that. He said he trolled ABN. That's oh my god.
I mean, I saw the post, Aaron, too, and I'm like, that's an interesting title for him.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, there's
now
a
everybody
lot of,
knows you did that,
yeah.
so
I know there's a lot of things that gets flown around the internet because like they look, weird things happen in these images, and it's like, oh, it's alien spaceships, and I'm like, no, not really.
Just the third awesome rocket.
Yeah, so, but oh yeah, I was waiting for because the rocket launch always gets people in a tizzy. Like, what is that? So that's always fun. And there was several of them last week. Are they?
AUK blew up for almost 2 days of people going, "What is this?"
Yeah. Are they doing
That's
any
one of
more
the
this
portals.
week? Or are they done with them? I don't know. I know there was like
I'm honestly not aware of them until like the day of or day after.
I know there was like a number of them that was like kind of slated. It seems like they do them in patches like this. Well, they do like several of them at a time, probably because it takes a lot to organize all this stuff. So you might as well do them all at once.
Makes sense.
So, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was the payload. Yeah, that's true. It was. So.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
But it makes for pretty pictures. They're pretty cool looking. I will say that. But anyway, so I don't see any more questions. So I guess we can let it go. It's short and sweet today. So everybody here, thanks for stopping in and saying hi and keeping the chat alive. And maybe next week we'll have something to talk about. Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
If not, we'll go back to our regular scheduled thing where we'll pick a topic to talk about.
That's true. We haven't done that in a minute.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a hot second, so we'll think about it. Or give us a message what you want to hear, and then we'll make it happen. So for now, Yeah, well, I'm still trying to figure out the meaning of life too.
What?
He's full of great suggestions in that chat. I love it. Oh, I love it. You guys are great. So anyway, have a good night. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, like all the other people on YouTube always say.
Whatever platform this is.
Yeah, whatever platform we're on right now. I don't know. But
Thanks, everyone.
thanks, and we'll be back next week with something.
Right.
All
Bye.
right. Bye now.